So our political editor, Chris Hope's here in the studio with us, because only one day after Kemi Badenoch lost one of, I would argue, her most important Tory MPs, Danny Kruger, thoughtful, cerebral, really deeply involved in policy, he's defected. And there's another one.
Yes, and we're hearing from him shortly on your show, aren't we, Danny Kruger? But there's more news. I can reveal that Maria Caulfield, who's a former government health minister, now a full-time nurse in the NHS after losing her seat last July, has joined Nigel Farage's party. So she's the 13th former Conservative MP to jump ship to Reform UK. She was the Tory MP for Lewis, 2015 to 2024. And she told me last night when I spoke to her, and I can only speak to her, frankly, in the evenings after her shifts, because she's working hard as a nurse, which is marvellous. She says, if you are Conservative right-minded, then the future, she says, is reform. This country is going to change a lot. The same people who thought that Brexit wouldn't happen think that reform won't happen. They're in for a shock, she told me last night.
And was she wooed by Nigel? He clearly wooed...
She hasn't talked to Nigel. She's talked to Lee Anderson so far, who she knew from being a fellow Tory MP when Lee Anderson was a Tory MP. Her husband has jumped ship to Reform as well a few months ago, and she's gone in the last month. It just is interesting, I think. Again, this hasn't really... not an organised thing by Reform UK. It's almost happening organically. You've got people just deciding for themselves, I'm joining Reform UK, and that's exactly what Nigel Farage wants. He wants people to think, well, the Tories can't beat Keir Starmer. Who can beat Keir Starmer? It's Farage's party.
But he also wants to be careful about which Conservatives do join Reform, because amongst the Reform base, there's understandably a lot of anger with the Conservative Party. And certainly, in my former constituency, lots of people voted for the Conservatives in 2019 for the very first time because of Brexit, because they felt that the Labour Party had let them down, and they were deeply disappointed and betrayed by immigration and various other things. And so I think Farage would probably say he doesn't want the kind of Tories that supported the immigration policy of the last government.
I've got a list here of the Tories, it may be on screen, but I've got a list here of the Tories who have joined Reform UK since the election. Nadine Dorries, Sir Jake Berry, Adam Holloway, Anne-Marie Morris, Sir David Jones, so members of the former Tory cabinet some years ago, Henry Smith, Andrea Jenkin, as I said, we know, of course, now the Mayor for Greater Lincolnshire, and Ross Thompson, Marco Longhi. So, you know these people, don't you? Are they all far-right people? Are they moderate Tories? Who are these people?
They're all people who would have, under the last Parliament, been called on the right of the Conservative Party, but in my book, they were just Conservatives, and unfortunately, the Conservative Party became very split between Liberals and Conservatives, which was, explains its downfall, but we've so far not seen any what I would call liberal members of the Conservative Party try to join Reform for obvious reasons.
Or in former Labour MPs.
Well, that's where I think Reform have a problem, because what they need to be careful of is that they're not seen as a dumping ground for former MPs, disillusioned MPs, Tory MPs who think they're going to lose their seat. That's not a criticism of Kruger, because if he was to lose his seat, it would be to the Lib Dems, not Reform. They haven't had a major Labour defector yet, the Tories. Reform.
Yes, people like Maria Caulfield, she's not a firebrand. She's a straightforward someone doing public service. She's doing public service in the NHS now, was as an MP. I think that's, to her complete credit, frankly. She said to me, she's sad for the Tory party. I could see that I have changed, but the party has become less and less what I believe in. We let people down over Brexit, she said, on laws, money and borders. We took back control, but we did not do anything about it. Reform has changed the system. So she draws a line between the Brexit vote and Reform, and that was because the Tories failed to deliver on the promise of Brexit.
I was actually at the Reform conference, was it 2 weeks ago now, with the Centre for Social Justice. We were doing a panel on lost boys, which is obviously one of the things we've been working on. And it was really interesting. I ran into lots of people who came up to me and said, I'm still a member of the Conservative Party, but I'm wondering about switching. And I think possibly people haven't known where Reform stand on certain issues. They're a new party. There have been mixed messages, let's be honest. But potentially the defection of Danny Kruger, who it's very well known what he believes, it's very well documented, that could mark a tipping point.
He's a young man compared to some of the older colleagues, or former colleagues, who are joining Reform, and his future's ahead of him, not behind him. That's what makes him so interesting.
Now, Chris, there's been significant news economically, because we've got inflation figures which are going to have some benefit.
Well, this is huge, yeah. So
it's going to affect the pension next year.
This will be boasted about by Labour for the next 6 months, but how they're going to pay for it is a different matter. But great news for viewers who are pensioners. The new state pension will rise by £500 next April. Pat McFadden, the Welfare Secretary, has announced a triple lock, which was pledged in the Labour manifesto, as it was in the Tory manifesto, guarantees the state pension goes up by inflation, average earnings growth, or 2.5%. Well, they're saying today that because of the inflation set now in September, it will go up by 4.7%, the pension next April. That is a big boost for people.
But inflation isn't 4.7% at the moment.
They're saying that they are saying here that the relevant average earnings figure, forgive me, so the triple lock is three things. Yes. Forgive me, you're absolutely correct. They're not the inflation, but the average earnings figure. Yeah. So it's whichever is the greater it goes up by. Right. In this case, average earnings goes by 4.7%, probably fueled by public sector pay increase. Yeah,
which will all falls... Fueled by taxes, because let's remember the state pension, there's not a pot of money that people have paid into, sadly. That's not what national insurance is. It's spent immediately by the government of the day. So a rise in pension means a rise in tax contribution or debt for working age people, and in fact people who haven't started working yet.
It'll be very welcome to pensions, but I suspect the government will get very little credit for it because they'll probably have to
they're trying to claim
money from somewhere else to pay for it.
They're trying to claim it. Pat McFadden says this government, Labour government, is committed to maintaining the triple lock for the whole Parliament, and we haven't had that commitment from Kemi Badenoch, by the way, worth noting that, and we'll try and get that from her, or ask her about it at the conference in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
We might be speaking to Kemi Badenoch today, so
will you ask her? Again?
Yes, I know, 2 days running.
Every day, Andrew Pearce. And it's estimated...
She just loves talking
She loves you.
I think she's got a soft spot.
Pat McFadden...
Bearing in mind, Pat McFadden has confirmed the triple lock we were aiming for this Parliament.
Will she? Ask that question, please.
And it's 4.7% average earnings?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And it will go up by nearly £2,000 by the end of this Parliament, Labour say today. As a commitment from Labour to our pensioners in this country. It's something that we said we'd do at the election and we'll keep to. So sticking to their promises, they're saying here. And do ask about Miriam Caulfield for me as well.
Yeah, of course you will. About time they stuck to one promise, Labour.
Yeah, that's why they're trumpeting. And you'll see this posted about the party conference next week.
And we'll ask her about Miriam Caulfield too. And we'll ask her again about Danny Kruger, because she seemed to want to talk yesterday more about Lord Manderson.
Of course, why not? Wonder why not?
About the impact of Labour's taxes on business, because I think that's what they're trying to talk about today.
Very good, Chris. Well done on Miriam Caulfield. Very good scoop.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts Monday night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.